yeah, Donald Trump, yeah,
So my
Donald
grandma.
Trump, yeah.
Yeah, my trip and let me know. I thought all that Donald Trump was a joke. Know what they say when rich go broke. Look, Reagan so cold, Obama so hope. Donald Trump spent his trust fund money on the vote. I'm from a place where you probably can't go. Speaking for some people that you probably ain't know. There's pressure built up and it's probably gonna blow. And if we say go, then they probably gonna go. You vote Trump, then you probably on dope. And if you like me, then you probably ain't know. And if you been in jail, you could probably still vote. If we let this win, we gon' probably feel broke. You build walls, we gon' probably dig holes. And if you do win,
Donald Trump,
you.
Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Donald Trump.
Yep. We don't black down. We fight on.
Yeah.
Our ancestors faced much worse. Phone lines are open right now, 800-920-1580. As we process election 2024. A bright spot for my people in L.A. Looks like Sade El-Hawari in the 57th is actually pounding her opponent. Kevin De Leon is behind. And many of these measures, county, city measures, too close to call. We do know that Prop 33 died, so once again, rent control loses. Okay, y'all want to say the rent is too damn high, but vote against rent control. Make it make sense. Oh, God, give me strength. As I started out, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Going to Paul from L.A. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Dominique. How you? I'm calling in. How you holding up?
Yeah, we fight on. I'm not a happy camper this morning for many reasons, but when we fight, we win, and evidently we didn't fight hard enough.
Right. That's all it means is the battle goes on. But I had, and that's why I hit you up early when I started noticing that where the numbers were coming from. And this is keep it real simple at the end of the day. He got 45% of the Latino vote, and the you-know-who group went right into that booth and voted exactly how we knew they were going to vote. So over 16 million people that voted for Joe Biden couldn't pull the lever for the black woman. And we have to acknowledge that in real time, this is what this country has been built on. And there was a double whammy. She was a woman and she was a black woman. And until we can acknowledge that man didn't run on anything. And it wasn't just as much as him. He ran strictly on fear and division, and people went, and that's what they voted for. So at the end of the day, I look at it from a standpoint of, this is what people are voting for. If you look across essentially the map, he potentially, if he doesn't, it's going to be close. He potentially could win the popular vote, which tells me this is what people want. People are okay, even if we start here in California with the DA race. People are okay with the imprisonment of black people.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. This people voted for being anti-black, and then we have to understand on our end, we need to recalibrate. Education, economic empowerment, mentorship. We need to come together ourselves because everything starts from us. We're the inventors. We're the culture. We're the dance. We're the architects. We have it here. We need to focus on building our infrastructure because what happens is we tend to rely on others and think they're allies. But at the end of the day, those people are proving in real time they're going to keep letting us down. And we got to stop falling for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a separatist or a nationalist, a black nationalist. But, this particular election, and I'm not naive in saying this, but this particular election does, it makes you wish for the Negro Leagues and the Black Wall Street. And, it just does. Because if allyship is A, unreliable, B, optional, I can march with you in 2020 and vote for Donald Trump in 2024, then WTF. It has to be us. And I know it's always been us, like you say, that move the needle and move the ball as far as, bettering America for everyone and moving as close step by painful step to a multiracial democracy, as we have gotten. I think we will continue to make progress. I think that this, as he rolls out these moves, we're going to see massive resistance, protest, and revolution. But again, to your point, Paul, I mean, at least as far as what I'm seeing so far, the racial lines are stark.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're going to roll with them. And white. I'm just going to keep it real in the buck. White adjacency is a cold thing. Colorism is a cold thing.
Yeah.
And people feel they can be assimilated within it. It's a reality. But there are things that we can do. I have to make sure that I'm not just looking at my wife and my daughters. And I'm going to keep this a buck and say this. I am so proud of my people. There were over 2,000 bomb threats in predominant areas where black voters were. And we still showed up to those polls. And that narrative that everybody ran with about black people not showing up, black men not being there, ended up a lie like we knew it was. And we knew the people that we turned our backs on are the ones that stabbed us in the back. At the end of the day, we need to come together, focus on ourselves, because remember, Dr. King laid out the game plan. It may be different how we go about doing it, but the March on Washington wasn't just about equality like that. It was a jobs march. He got those white people, those poor white people, to pull up with him, and that scared the bejesus out of them. So maybe we need to recalibrate on our end and stop from a standpoint of thinking morals are going to be what people are going to do, because in reality, that's not.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what Dr. King didn't have to deal with, Paul? Dr. King didn't have to deal with social media. He didn't have to deal with Russian and misinformation. He didn't have to deal with the speed that the lies go around the world now, and how easy it is for people who are not media literate, to be tricked and fooled. I think you're right. You know, it comes back to our communities, to circling our wagons. I think Dr. Gerald Horne said, you know, running for local offices, shoring up whatever progressive or black power advantages we have in our local communities, and seeking international allies. But, you know, we are in a time where it's harder. It is harder today. Yes, you can organize quickly on social media, but Twitter is owned by, Elon Musk, who's now saying he wants to run for office, and who's probably going to be in the cabinet of DJT. And if you look at, with Republicans holding the Senate, he can appoint, Daffy Duck to the Supreme Court. I mean, he's got rubber stamp on all his appointments with the red wedding in the Senate. It's I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, but what I am saying is we're going to see the effects of this Project 2025, this anti-Blackness, this Trump agenda very quickly. And I believe that people will have buyer's remorse. And I'm talking, when I say people, I'm talking about Latino people that, made the wrong decision. Apparently I can't speak for what the white folks will do.
Yeah, but they voted a certain way, and this is what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is Dr. King, our ancestors in the past, remember in the 50s, white people made up about 90% of the population themselves in the country.
Yeah, that's true.
There were churches that Dr. King himself could not go to because the black people in that church were fearful that the white people would take retribution against them for having him come in that church. The hardships he dealt with in real time may be different, but they were real. He was beaten. He was
a good
jailed.
point.
A lot
Especially after he took the position against the Vietnam War, then it escalated and ended with his murder or assassination, which is the ultimate hardship, right?
Exactly. My whole issue with the situation is, and also let's talk first-time voters. Elon, Joe Rogan scared the bejesus out of those young, targeting white men, and they showed up to the polls. And he won +9 in an area for first-time voters that previously in 2020, Joe Biden won handily. So what we're essentially talking about is, well, what happened with this election? What happened with this election is they could not pull the lever for a woman, and on top of it being a black woman. Regardless of what happens from this, RFK is supposedly supposed to be over our health department.
Woo!
He's talking about if black history is going to be taught, that he's going to hold funding from the schools that teach real history. I got to focus on our black youth, and I implore my brothers out there, because there's Kwame. I deal with him. I deal with a couple of people. Keep doing the work in our local communities, because the work does not stop regardless of what goes on outside of it. We got to make sure we take care of ours and our future.
Yeah, that's well said, Paul, and I appreciate you. I'm looking at the Washington Post exit polls from the 2024 presidential election. White, non-college graduate women, 57% went for Trump. 57% to 42% Harris. A white, non-college graduate men, this cannot be right, but this is what they're saying. White non-college graduate men and white non-college graduate women exactly the same, both 57%. No gender gap at all, according to these exit polls. If Stand By Your Man was a poll. Now, when you get women to college, white women to college, just 36% of white college-educated women go for Trump, according to this Washington Post exit poll. White college-educated men, 48% vote. So I guess, if you want to factor in education, but we'll see how long that lasts, because that is exactly and precisely why the Republican Party is targeting Black studies, targeting DEI, targeting women's studies. And when we talk about gaps, I mean, the age gap is clear here. If you look at young people break for Harris in much greater numbers than older people. Even except for young white men, but even younger white women. So what happens to the trust, the generational trust here, especially if you look at the attacks on the rights of student protesters that happened under the Biden administration, and how that radicalized a lot of young people. Well, wait till Trump gets a hold of them, and the Trump-Vance, Team Trump-Vance gets a hold of our young people. We've got a lot of work to do. But as I said at the beginning of the show, as I said last night on my Instagram, our ancestors faced much worse. So what do? We keep fighting. That's our charge. That is our sacred duty. 800-920-1580 is the perfect time to call me. And we'll be hearing from Congresswoman Maxine Waters at the bottom of the hour. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SNAP to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SNAP for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SNAP for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yep. I was looking at these exit polls and it Washington Post, and we're like Mr. Fernandez said, we're going to hear more and more analysis of who voted and how many of them voted. But this snapshot from the Washington Post has Latino voters at 55% Trump. Let that sink in. 55% of Latino voters went Trump, according to this Washington Post exit poll. 64% of white voters, 58% Asian. This is what Paul Mooney used to call the illusion of inclusion. Where is Mr. Mooney when we need him? And, I'm sorry, if you're an immigrant or a justice-impacted person, I'm it's the left to keep from crying. I'm not trying to be mean. Or a woman who needs care. Don't come to me crying if you voted for this man. I can't. I can't with you. But as I've said before, we fight on. Our ancestors faced much worse, and we will fight on. How dare we even consider not doing so? The arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. We happen to be in a white lash at the moment. We happen to be in, those times of our history, the McCarthy era, the Dred Scott decision. But we get through them and we keep fighting. Oh, look who's on my phone. Considered to be one of the most powerful women in American politics. We know she's fearless and an outspoken advocate for women, children, people of color, the poor, black people, veterans, and seniors. Y'all like to call her Auntie Maxine. She was reelected to her 17th term in the House of Representatives in 2022 and 18th term last night by a very, very wide margin. Congratulations, Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Let's start there.
Good morning, Dominique, and thank you for congratulating me. Not feeling too good this morning, watching what has happened in this country. We did well in California. We voted Democratic ballots. But looking at what has happened across the country and getting some of the stats from my staff and others, some of the people we thought we were working with let us down. And black men, 20%, Latinx, 45%, disappointing, and white women who I guess many people thought were going to be overwhelmingly supportive of Democrats with the abortion issue, all of that. It didn't quite happen that way, did it?
Nope. They went with Taylor Swift to the football game and instead of coming to the Kamala Harris rally with us. I am very disappointed but not surprised, because that was the one thing, Congresswoman Waters, that really worried me about this election. If we historically look at the way that white women have voted, they have tended throughout history to vote their privilege over their own best interests. And as Tavis and Mr. Fernandez pointed out this morning, we have plenty of states where they voted to preserve their abortion rights, white women, but still voted for Trump, who just
Yeah.
ended it. That's make it make sense.
Well, I suspected that. I didn't know exactly what happened, but I suspected that they wanted to take advantage of us on abortion and pretend to be aligned with us. In the final analysis, they voted for Trump. Now, let's see what they're going to do when he comes up with a national ban on abortion. Let's see if they're going to come back wanting to work with us to do something about it, or whether or not they're going to call him out. These are going to be some interesting questions in days to come, both with black men at 20%, Latinx at 45%. We've got a lot of understanding to figure out and to take place. And let's see how it's going to be fashioned coming from them about why. It's baffling. It's baffling.
Well, I'm seeing different polling, Congresswoman Waters, and at least at the Washington Post exit polls and some other polls that I'm looking at show black men at 80 to 85% support of Harris. It really seems like a lot of this simply split along racial lines.
Yeah, I think so. But remember, Trump has not been hesitant or ashamed to be racist and to be divisive. And he has tried to do that by working with black men in particular and with Latinx. They went after them aggressively. They spent money. They spent time. And let's see in the final analysis what these final polls are going to be about, what they're going to say, and what is the truth of all of this.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm looking at 20% and 45%. And I want to see. We got to wait a few days to see if this is really true.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's looking like it is, but you're right, and that's certainly the voice of experience. We don't know what's going to happen with the House of Representatives yet. The Republicans have taken the Senate. What are your? I heard your dear friend and colleague Nancy Pelosi, who was also reelected, saying a couple days ago that she thought the House of Representatives would hold. What's your feeling?
Well, we all thought that. We all thought that because we had good candidates and we had money. I mean, millions and millions of dollars was raised for the candidates coming in open seats. But it looks as if all of the incumbents are returning. But the seats that were open and we had competition, it may not look as good. I don't have the figures. I don't know exactly what has happened, but it looks as if we did not gain, but we maintained all of the incumbents.
And for you, I mean, Congresswoman Waters, we got a couple minutes here before news, traffic, and sports, and then we'll continue on the other side. For you, as an early critic of Trump, as someone who called for his impeachment, and then it happened twice, who called for his prosecution. Most of those will be shut down now with him being reelected. How are you going to be able to continue to fight inside the government? I mean, he's got an enemies list. You've got to be right at the top of it.
Yeah, I'm at the top of it, but I'm worried about things like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, where we finally had gotten a handle on how to deal with people who were being ripped off with payday loans and all of that stuff. All of that goes out the window. And so, of course, I'm concerned. I'm worried about it. But I think Democrats have got to be more vocal, and we've got to call it like it is and tell people the truth. All of this business about we've got to reach across the aisle, we've got to work with, they don't want to work with us. Reaching across the aisle, you think Marjorie Taylor Greene gives a damn about Maxine Waters? No, they don't even believe in the Constitution. They think the Constitution should be thrown out. I believe that Trump is going to invite Putin to visit here in the United States. He's going to make sure that Russia wins the war with the Ukraine. He's going to align himself not only with Putin, but Kim Jong-un in North Korea, where the two of them are meeting, and he's going to meet with them. I mean, patriotism lost. That's number one. Family values gone. This business of diversity and inclusion, they killed it in many of the corporations that were trying to align themselves with me as I created that new subcommittee on diversity and inclusion. Now they don't have to do anything. They've started to pull back already with the Supreme Court decision, but all that's out the window now. So
we've got news, traffic, and sports right here. Then we'll continue our conversation with, the original fighter for our people in at least in our era, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. Our election coverage continues with California overwhelmingly approving a measure that would increase the penalties for crimes like shoplifting and drug-related offenses. Proposition 36 has more than 70% support with nearly 9 million votes counted. Most of the U.S. House members in Metro Detroit, Michigan are heading back to Washington, D.C. for another 2-year term. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, Rashida Tlaib, Lisa McClain, and Haley Stevens won their races, so did Congressman Sri Thanedar. Arizona voters have approved an amendment that makes abortion rights part of the state's constitution. Proposition 139 was passed on Tuesday and will replace Arizona's current law, which bans abortions after the 15th week of pregnancy. And switching gears, Kroger has settled with 30 states that sued over the company's involvement in the opioid crisis. As a result, the company will pay nearly $1.4 billion to the states. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows you want to get more value for the holiday. That's why, as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals every week on everyday essentials, tools, and more. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details, subject to change.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Paul George is back in town. The former Clippers star will be in the lineup tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers. The Clippers and Sixers are meeting up tonight at the Intuit Dome. George signed with the Sixers as a free agent in the summer after playing 5 years with the Clippers. The Clippers won't have to worry about Sixers center Joel Embiid. The NBA suspended Embiid for 3 games for shoving a columnist Saturday in the Sixers locker room. Embiid was upset with Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Inquirer for a column he wrote about Embiid. The suspension will cost Embiid $1.63 million. The Lakers are at Memphis tonight, final game of a 5-game road trip. The Lakers are 1-3 on the trip. Dodger star Shohei Ohtani underwent surgery Tuesday to repair a torn labrum muscle in his left shoulder. Ohtani hurt his shoulder sliding into second base in Game 2 of the World Series. The Dodgers said Ohtani will be ready for spring training. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability, with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. The Equinox EV and all-new Equinox, America's best compact SUV for new vehicle quality by J.D. Power, offer both confidence and style to see you through the holiday season. It's easy to see why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Award based on 2024 models for J.D. Power 2024 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information. Visit jdpower.com/awards. Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Silverado, Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment is 22.2%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/2/24.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Ooh, and it may need more than a scholarly match today. I'm Dominique DiPrima, our beloved Congresswoman Maxine Waters, on the phone this morning, helping to unpack what has really been a more terrible night than I expected. I was expecting some local defeats here in the state of California, Congresswoman, with the polling around Prop 36 and the district attorney's race. Was not expecting this defeat at the top of the ticket. Lot to unpack there, but you talked about, reach across the aisle, and sometimes I feel like we as Democrats do that too much, right? Instead of trying to focus on our own agenda and what we can or cannot do, it's all this kumbaya, and I'm already hearing the conciliatory conversation with some of the press. I feel like that's not going to be productive. But, what can you do? What can we do to support you getting anything done in this environment? Because it's not just a normal Republican victory. As you point out, we've got the Marjorie Taylor Greens. We have a J.D. Vance who's, you better hope Trump stays healthy, because that man for president would be a big problem.
You're absolutely right. This business about reaching across the aisle, I believe that some people are naive when they talk that way, and they actually believe that you can change the minds of some of these hardcore conservative, even racists, on the opposite side of the aisle. Some people don't seem to know or understand that we have domestic terrorists in the House of Representatives who support the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the QAnons, the KKK, and watching what happened in our country January 6th, when they invaded the Capitol and insurrection took place, and people are still talking about, some people, why don't you all just get along? It's not about that. You have people who have been raised and basically taught racism and separatism and the fact that they're supposed to be the greatest and in charge of this country, and that black people still are not deserving of being equal, and that somehow we have to be, they have to maintain their leadership because otherwise black people will get out of hand. And so I believe that MAGA, Make Our Country Great Again, has basically educated and informed and worked with their people to keep them strong in all of those beliefs. So this is not about, just getting along and reaching across the aisle and all of that phony stuff. It's not about that at all. It's about winning, and it's about registering to vote and increasing our numbers, educating to the degree that we can our own people. When we have people talking about, getting along and somehow supporting Trump because he's rich or he's got moxie or any of that stuff, we've got to get out of that and think about fighting and working to win because we have not only the numbers of our own people, that the more we vote, the better off we will be. I think we can beat them and get rid of some of the lack of knowledge and make sure that we don't have people walking around talking about voting for Trump. Trump is the worst thing that could happen to this country. He is a liar. He's brazen. Project 2025 is his project. They're going to get rid of public education, at least the Department of Education, and Head Start, and on and on and on. We got to wake up.
Yeah.
We got to wake up.
Well, Congresswoman Waters, you don't in times like this, you don't think about, stepping down or giving up.
No, because, I feel like I would be abandoning in the middle of the fight. And I feel that I cannot do that. Some people, are thinking about that because of my age. But some of the people who think about it and maybe even think I should, I think I'm physically fit. I think that I have a lot of energy. I know I have a lot of energy, and it's more than most people. It's more than most. Why should I walk away when I have this energy? I have a presence of mind, and I am willing to do the work. Nope, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, well, I say that because so many people are feeling discouraged this morning, not because of your chronological giftedness or anything like that, but because so many people, young and old, are feeling discouraged. You hear so many people saying, "Well, I'm leaving America, and I'm team stay and fight." I'm with you, Congresswoman. Our ancestors didn't give up, and they faced much bigger challenges than what we're facing now.
You're absolutely right. I was over at First AM on Sunday, and the night before I was feeling a little bit discouraged with what I was hearing. But when I thought about Biddy Mason, who, created the First AME Church, and she had been born into slavery, had worked as a slave, but kept working her way out of it, became very rich. When she died, she was very wealthy. She was a businesswoman. And I thought, what am I feeling a little bit down about? I'm going over to First AME Church. My spirit should be uplifted, just thinking about who she was, what she did, and how she created the AMEs. Let me get over here and help inspire some people, and let's talk about working as hard as we can for justice and equality in this country.
We're going to go to Kevin calling us from L.A. Good morning, Kevin.
Hi. Wow, what an honor to speak with you, Dominique DiPrima, as well as the one and only Congresswoman Maxine Waters. I'm a fan of both of you, your work as women. God bless you. And I'm really in a state of shock, but I was just encouraged, Congresswoman Waters, by your words about Biddy Mason. You know, it's really sad to see those numbers, and where I walk in and where I go. I mean, I'm not on the radio. I'm definitely not a congressperson like you both. But, I mean, I'm talking in the streets to a lot of people, and believe it or not, I'm so shocked by just our brothers, our black men that I spoke to in real time, that I'm in the malls and I'm in the different places talking to, and they were just like, they down with Trump. And I'm just beyond shocked that I'm actually engaging in, trying to be polite because I'm in a mall, but then going out, having like actual arguments about, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm down with Trump. He's down with us and all this stuff. And just this brainwash mentality I just couldn't believe by so many brothers. You know what I mean? And the Fox Hills Mall, and this is in our hood, you know what I'm saying, that was down with Trump. And I'm just like, what happened to, President Obama and all the greatness? Because, we were all down with President Obama. And, Kamala Harris, you should be down with her. It's just, I just couldn't wrap my mind around that. I couldn't even wrap my mind even around Latino brothers, that we're having that same feel.
All right, Kevin, I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot to process right now.
Yeah.
So do you have a question, or just you want to land for me?
Yeah,
where are you at?
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
no worries.
Yeah, I'm just.
That's what we're here for.
I'm in a state of shock, So,
yep.
But I will just say, definitely we got to keep up the fight. I mean, I ain't going nowhere. Y'all ain't going nowhere. We just gotta. I don't know. We got to keep up the fight. But I'm definitely listening, and I appreciate you, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, for all of your work. I vote for you in every election, and I'm an advocate for you all.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. I mean, I think you kind of the sort of shell shock that you're reflecting. A lot of us are processing this morning. Tony Robinson in the chat says, Black women, y'all gonna pay for this disrespect. There's a lot of crazy talk going on in the chat. We've already prepaid. Black women have been paying. We've been paying since our enslavement and every single day since. So you ain't gonna scare us with that. I think the struggle, the activism, the organizing, and the disrespect of stupidity and fascism, totalitarianism, and oligarchy will continue. As long as I have a mic, it's going to continue.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate you and the time that you're able to spend with us talking about these issues. We've got to use every part of the media that we can to try and educate these people who don't know and who don't understand, like the brother who was walking to pick up his child at Head Start. And I said, where do you think Head Start came from? Mm-hmm. Where do you think it came from? It came from Democrats. It came from people who fight for early childhood education. It wasn't Republicans, and they want to shut down the Department of Education, shut down Head Start. But he was in a different place, and he talked about Democrats hadn't done anything. And I said, where do you think you get clean drinking water from? Where do you think we get these highways and streets paved? Where do you think we get, consumer protection? On and on and on. They don't see that as government work, as Democratic Party work.
Yeah, well, you gotta read and pay attention, not just go by talking points. We're talking with Congresswoman Maxine Waters. She's been kind enough to share her thoughts with us this morning, and we will continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Hello, LA. Metro is your partner for thriving communities and sustainable travel. We're dedicated to providing better transit for everyone. When you go Metro, you're more connected to jobs, healthcare, school, and loved ones. It's the way of the future. Start your journey at metro.net.
Black Women for Wellness and Stand LA are standing up against harmful oil drilling in South Los Angeles. Our Bad Neighbors campaign exposes the serious health risks of drilling in our neighborhoods. You've seen the billboards, posters, and coffee sleeves around South LA. Now join the movement to protect our health, our families, and our future.
Visit bwwla.org/no-drilling to learn more and get involved. That's bwwla.org/no-drilling.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Looking to improve your situation? LA County is here to help. Free Wi-Fi can help you find job opportunities, stay on top of your health, and connect with vital resources. Whether you're seeking employment, healthcare info, or support services, the internet can open a lot of doors. Don't let the digital divide hold you back. Find your connection at libraries, parks, and community centers. To learn more about these resources, visit lacountyandU.com. That's lacountyandU.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Talking with Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and one thing that the Congresswoman said that, we may have breezed by because we're just dealing with a lot of shock and so much information to unpack, is that we will not know all of the results of all of these things or even the truth about what actually happened for some time. Doom and gloom and all is lost is not the way to go. We need to track what's going. We could still see a victory in the House, maybe a long shot. And we certainly have seen some victories so far, or apparently some victories here in the state of California. It looks like the minimum wage is going to be raised. It looks like Kevin De Leon is going to be defeated, which is important for many of us. Yeah.
I've got to get information on the initiative dealing with slavery in the prisons and increasing the ability for prisoners to earn a decent wage. That's very important. And I don't have the information on that one yet.
Well, I'm looking at the registrar recorder. They have 6 ahead in the polls, but again, there's so much more counting to do that we don't know. But that's a good sign, I think, Congresswoman, because the polling showed it losing, which wouldn't be crazy. But so far, it's ahead, according to the registrar of voters, as is County Measure A. So far, it's winning by 10 points. That's homeless services and, of course, affordable housing.
Yes, of course. I expected that to win. We need more resources, more dealing with the system and how it works, and how to, make the system work a lot better in utilizing the resources that we send from Congress for homelessness. I think we can do that. We've got to look at ways by which to get that money out on the street in ways that the nonprofits can absolutely house people and get permanent housing. And so I'm very pleased that at least most people are focused on homelessness and want to do something about it.
Yeah, it looks like State Measure 4 for safe drinking water, for,
Yes,
the climate emergency protections. It's a
yes,
bond. Looks
yes.
like that's winning so far by quite a bit. It's 62% according to 37 according to the Registrar of Voters. If that holds, that would also be great news for California.
Yes, absolutely.
And, we will see. I'm looking here at the registrar, as I said, Congresswoman Waters. They have Measure 6 winning 52% to 48%, which is in defiance of what we saw in the polls. But we have to see how that plays out when everything is counted. It's crazy to me how, especially with local measures, something can go from seemingly winning to failing over the course of vote counting.
I know, and I expect vote counting to be a lot more advanced with digital
Yeah.
and all. So let's see what happens.
It looks like we have, again, I'm looking at these results. They seem pretty decisive, but we'll see because the counts aren't done. But according to what I see here, it looks like we have elected a number of African-American judges to the Superior Court, LA Superior Court. Looks like possibly George Turner, Erica Wiley, Sharon Ransom, Georgia Huerta, and Tracy Blunt. They're all black, and right now they're all ahead in the count.
Well, and most of them are public defenders, which we supported very heavily. We need more representation for people in the court system who cannot afford, all these fancy lawyers. The rich and the powerful, get away because they can. But public defenders are, all that we can depend on to get some fairness for the least of these. So I'm pleased about that.
Yeah, looks like, in the state assembly, looks like Shadea El-Haware is winning by a lot over Efren Martinez. We'll see. And many of these other, state representatives, the Democrats look like they're mostly sweeping here, which is not surprising in California.
Not surprising at all. And, as we take a look at what we have done, looking at the national election, the presidency and all, California did very, very well. I think we're up about 54% for Kamala. I haven't looked at the latest the latest information, but it looks as if California did do well.
Yeah, it does. This is LA County, though, so, it's going to skew a little bit more Kamala, where they're counting they're looking at 63% here. And we don't have a lot of time, but they've called the district attorney, Nathan Hochman, a former Republican who's now calling himself an independent, has defeated, progressive district attorney George Gascon. It seems to be part of a national trend. On top of that, Prop 36, which in my opinion, takes us back to the bad old days of the three strikes, has prevailed. And so we are looking at a real backlash in criminal justice to some of the progress we saw in 2020 in the state of California as well.
Well, that's absolutely true. And what? My conversations with people on the street about it was snatch and grab, and the what was going on in the streets with the circling of these young people in their cars.
Right.
I think they call it the donut. It has bothered a lot of folks, and folks sometimes don't engage with the very people who we pay to protect us and to police. We have people don't even go to the police commission to voice their opinion. They don't expect anything from the police. We have less police presence because of COVID, and just being in the communities, kind of having community policing would help a lot. Talking with the neighborhoods, getting to know people. We don't have any of that anymore, and so we have this great division now where people will do something like vote for, stricter penalties and tougher laws and more locking them up and throwing the keys away, misdemeanors turned into felonies and all of that. Well, I want to tell you that is not what was helpful in a so-called democracy.
Well, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, I really, really thank you for spending this day after the election, spending so much time with us. And I thank you for not only all the fighting you've done, but all the fighting you're yet to do. We so appreciate you.
Absolutely, and thank you so much. I'm always reclaiming my time.
Yes, and I am walking right in your footsteps. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, thank you again.
It's been a great job. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Tavis Smiley's up next, and we are sleep deprived around here because we were on the radio till 10 o'clock last night. So trust me, he's going to be on one, and you don't want to miss this. Of course, we'll have our phone lines open all day long, and I will be back at this tomorrow until they grab this mic from me. I want to go to a quote from Malcolm X. Malik El-Haj Shabazz, he says, "You can't separate peace from freedom, because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom." Let that sink in. We can keep the conversation going on social media. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio, we are at KBLA 1580 on all platforms. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know from BIN News. Our election coverage continues with California overwhelmingly approving a measure that would increase the penalties for crimes like shoplifting and drug-related offenses. Proposition 36 has more than 70%